Welcome back. Today we have our first college football Yap Sesh preseason talk. We did this last year, and I looked back at our video from last year.
We were spitting.
We actually predicted the national championship damn near. We said it was going to be Texas, Ohio State, one of them. We pretty much took the favorites and it ended up being close to that. Obviously, Notre Dame snuck in there on the back end with how the bracket. But realistically, it was the championship. It was. I think we were pretty accurate on that. Now, that was chalk, though. Let's be real. That was pretty chalk. The one big miss we had was we said there's no way in hell Travis Hunter wins it. But we did talk about it. But we did say there's no chance. Outside of that, we didn't do horribly. We had some good. We had some bad.
I feel like Genty probably should have won.
No, realistically. And that one, no one really had on the radar too much. So, but overall, more good than bad, which I thought going into it, I was like, we missed everything. And then I went back and I was like, we actually did pretty well. So today, what we're going to go over is we're going to do Heisman winners.
Did you have McCord over or under?
I think over. McCord's over. Yeah,
because he had the most passing yards.
Yeah, no, he
Syracuse history.
Yeah, I had his over. The one I really missed was Ollie.
Yeah,
I thought Ollie was going to do well. That one I completely whiffed on.
Now you got him on your fantasy.
Now I have him on my fantasy team, so it makes up for it.
He'll go over this year.
But we have Heisman winners today. We have Heisman dark horses today. We're doing Natty and then Natty dark horses. Kind of create some conversation, go over everything. But we're going to start with Heisman winners.
And this is going to come out after week one or
so
before?
This will come out on Monday. So it'll be right after week one.
Just when Arch lights it up, I don't want you guys thinking we recorded
this. Yeah, fair enough.
It's before the Ohio State Texas
before the game.
Before week one.
Yeah, okay. So for me, I'm going to take my chalk, and you're already going to be upset about it. I'm going to take Cade Klubnik right off the rip. Plus 800 we get him at on BetMGM. This team is just reloading everybody. Like, everybody's coming back. Their offense, everyone outside their left guard is coming back on the O-line. They have Brian Wesco, obviously Antonio Williams. Those two are like the key pieces for him to put this together. But I know I talked about this with you the other day, but let's look at his comparison from 2015 Baker Mayfield, the year before he broke out, and Cade Klubnik's 2024 season. It's eerily similar. Both had 3,700 passing yards. Both had 36 passing touchdowns. Both had 7 rushing touchdowns. Both had 400 rushing yards and 43 total touchdowns, with Cade having 6 interceptions and Baker having 7 interceptions. It is like eerily similar from the numbers perspective. I think this year with them reloading, I think he has the talent, obviously coming out of high school, 5-star kid, number one. Like, he was the guy coming out. If there's going to be a year he puts it together, I love the schedule as well. If we just go down real quick, and I'll flash on the screen for you guys. LSU, Troy, Georgia Tech, Syracuse, North Carolina, which I think is up in the air, still to be determined on how good they are. Boston College, SMU, I don't think is going to be able to hold up. Duke, Florida State, and Louisville, like we talked about off camera, could be up in the air. Furman, free win, and then it's ending with South Carolina, which could be very interesting. But for the most part of that schedule, I feel like they could pass on that those defenses all day.
I think the tricky thing about the Heisman handicap this year is last year, you had Travis Hunter. Colorado went, 8-4, 7-something.
100%.
The year before, Jaden Daniels, they still won 9 games, but historically it's best player on one of the best teams.
100%.
And there's so many loaded teams this year, but I do think like 10 wins is going to be a commonplace. I do think you're going to have to be on a really good team. So that's 100%. Why the schedule matters versus the last 2 years. It didn't matter quite as much.
No, I agree. I was going to bring that up when we talk about our dark horses, but it's very interesting how the trend, at least the past 2 seasons, have just completely flipped from like what we were expecting. And like when you look at like Derrick Henry's in the big years, it's like the best player on the best team normally gets it, where it hasn't been the case. And that's also why I think that helps Cade in this standpoint. Like, I think he could put up video game numbers this year on this offense. Like, I think this offense is going to pop. My only concern would be, are they able to win out their schedule? And that's where I'm like, I'm kind of conflicted on that. And if they miss the playoffs, that's what I'm like really worried about. But for the most part, I think they'll be able to sneak in at the minimum. And then obviously he's going to be way more in the running for that. Again, he stays healthy. He has the legs to also make some plays happen in the run game. Like, if he can run for another 400, 500 yards, add some rushing touchdowns as well, like, I think the sky's the limit for Cade in this offense specifically. If he's going to do it any year, it's going to be this year, and that's why I'm kind of taking him for just like my favorite chalkier Heisman winner.
Yeah, I mean, we talked off camera about Clemson. I have holes that I poke in the argument, But I also understand the scenario where like everything goes to plan, and they're really good, and they beat LSU to open the season, and then they're off and running, and he wins the Heisman. They're title contenders. So I don't hate the pick by any stretch.
And I think your one argument that you brought up almost could help the Heisman case, not obviously national championship, but like if their defense is bad again, they're going to be slinging the rock. Yeah. He's going to have to put up numbers. It's going to feel like a Joe Burrow almost in college football, where he's going to have to play catch up. And the offensive side of the ball, like I don't think there's too many holes on the offense, truly. I think running back is obviously a little bit concerned. The run game could be a little bit questionable, but I think from the passing standpoint and the talent and I think the biggest thing is our entire line is back outside of one position. Yeah. That's awesome. That's huge. So I think for the most part, he definitely has it there. Now you brought up.
Hold on. I want to make one more point. So I think as college football is becoming even more like the NFL, right? It's becoming professionalized, NIL, all this stuff. When we do our NFL MVP handicapping, we do two things. One, we tend to pick from the favorites because the favorites in MVP tend to win the award. And so the chalk pick sometimes is a really good pick for good reason. Number two, the narrative matters way more in NFL MVP, but now it's starting to pick up, right? Like we said, Genti probably should have won the award, but the hype, the media hype, and also just the national attention that just like sports have gotten, right? We went from a very localized sport to a very national heavy. And I feel like all these voters are heavily influenced by the narrative, right? Like, how did Josh Allen win the award last year? Yeah, he didn't have better numbers than Lamar 100%. Jackson. It was just the narrative, right? And then Dan Orlovsky's on ESPN. He's pushing it. And so my one pitfall with Cade, they're going to have the big moment to start the season. And they will have that big moment against South Carolina to kind of bookend the season. But I do get fearful of, like, the ACC is just not on TV.
Fair enough.
And so these things seem funny, but if you're not on TV, then you're not picked up on social media, and then you're not posted online. And, like, the reality is this is where these conversations happen. So that's kind of my only knock on him for Heisman. I think if you do like him for Heisman, yes, he could ball out. Defense isn't as good. But I think you probably like them to be hyper competitive, win 100%. ACC, potentially win the national championship.
No, that's where I have them at. Now, again, I understand both perspectives. But, yeah, I 100% agree. If narrative is everything, and that's why you're taking Arch. I mean, Arch is the narrative this year heading into the season. Some people came out and said last year off of 3 games they're taking him number 1 overall. So, like, there's definitely a hype around it.
I think he would go number 1 overall had he not even played last year.
It's insane the hype he has. Do you think that also could be a pitfall for him?
And this is why I waver back and forth. And I think throughout the season, it will waver. So coming into the year, you had the whole last year, you had Quinn's the starter. People outside of Texas didn't understand, like, why he was the starter. Experienced quarterback. He was highly touted. Like, is Arch going to transfer? Like, this has always been the Manning plan, was to sit, develop and then come in. So then they were like, oh, Arch is going to be the best quarterback ever. He's a 5-star, perfect recruit. And then, obviously, people had to bring it down to earth. And now you're seeing, like, preseason SEC rankings, and he's the 8th best quarterback in the SEC, right? Like, I think Pavia is good, but, like, is he really better than Arch? No. I'm just not positive. So we've swung this way. Now, whatever happens on Saturday is either going to swing further or 100%. Swing back, right? It's going to be so polarizing. So that is my biggest worry with Arch. I think Texas has a really good chance of running the table. You get splash wins at Ohio State. You play at Georgia. You play Florida on the road. You're going to play A&M in prime time for rivalry week. There's a good chance in the SEC championship. So, like, there's so much prime time for Arch to shine. And then it's just a bet on his talent.
No,
like
100%.
We were talking about earlier. People may just be overthinking it at this point. Like, Arch Manning has the last name, was a perfect recruit, is on one of the best teams in college football. By the way, has been in the system. This will be for his 3rd year, right? He only played a few games last year, but he was in the system 2 years ago. And the kid can run also, and he can make plays. So
a white guy coming in Wildcat,
you gotta be able to scoot. You gotta be able to scoot. So I think from the chalk side of the board, he just makes a ton of sense. But if we got to the end of the season and it was like Texas's defense is amazing, Arch's weapons really helped him out, and he was just throwing these quick hitters, which is a lot of Sark's offense, and they wanted to kind of like degrade his performance, it wouldn't shock me. No. Or if people wanted to say he's Trevor Lawrence, except actually fucking fire.
Enough.
Then he should win the award. So, yeah, I think it's going to come down to everyone's personal opinion and how they view it.
Yeah, no, I mean, those are two very, like, chalkier picks, but I like both of them for the value. And like you said to start, like, the chalk picks are normally the picks that end up hitting.
Yeah.
Realistically. There's not many Travis Hunters that we've really seen,
Yeah.
like, to be fair. With that being said, though, this year, dark horses, I know you're dark horse already, but do you think there's any real picture of, like, a Jeremiah getting a Ryan Williams or, like, any of them really having a true chance?
I hate those guys this year because you've got Arch at the top. If Ohio State's good, Sayan's going to play well. If Penn State's good, like maybe Aller isn't being talked about. I think Dante Moore could put up big numbers at Oregon. I think Cade's going to put up big numbers. It feels like it's time that like one of these 11-1 teams with a star quarterback is going to win.
Yeah.
Jeremiah's pretty freaking good. I don't see it for Ryan Williams. Jeremiah, but remember,
the narrative.
Devontae Smith won the Heisman because he scored like 23 touchdowns.
Like the greatest college football season of all time.
Exactly. Yeah. And there were still questions up until the last couple weeks
100%.
In that year. Smith has the talent. Williams probably has some of the talent to do it, but I wouldn't bet on it personally.
He's at plus 1,000.
Yeah,
that's nuts. Like that's almost in the 900, 800 range. That value I'm never going to take. It's just interesting to talk about if there's any real value.
And what was Hunter last year? He was like 50-1 at one point.
More than that. I think when we made the video, it was 66-1.
Right. So that's what's important about this conversation is like Hunter. We didn't see the path, but like if you had taken it, I would have said, okay, that's a long shot.
Yeah.
Jeremiah at 10-1.
Not a long shot.
It's just too tight for me.
No, but I am going to take for my dark horse 40-1 Dylan Raiola. We talk about narratives. He's got one. And I think he's one of the polarizing names because of the Mahomes thing and all that. And it might not be positive media, but media is media right now, and that's huge. Going into his sophomore year, and the big thing for me is it's year 3 of Matt Rule. Year 3 of Matt Rule traditionally has been the year for the offense to play way better, to explode. In Baylor in 2019, they had Charlie Brewer as a quarterback. They threw for 3,500 yards. Temple 2016, PJ Walker, shout out Panthers GOAT, 3,300, but with a lot of more rushing upside. The offense tends to really click. Now, do they have a ton of great starters coming back? No, but most of their O-line is back, which I think is a big thing. Plus, they add Dane Key from Kentucky. I think their additions are what they need to be for this long shot. Again, it's a long shot for a reason. But if he starts to perform well, I think the media is going to cover him all the time because of all the comparisons that happen.
We put out a post this morning already.
Yeah, so
he plays in Arrowhead tonight.
He plays tonight. Cincinnati. I think this is going to be a big game. I think if he balls out tonight, he could set him on the right path. And they got really lucky with their schedule. Yes. They don't play Oregon. They play Penn State and they play Michigan. But Michigan is still yet to be seen with a new quarterback. We don't really know how they're going to perform. But the middle of their schedule is Michigan State, Maryland, Minnesota, Northwestern. I don't feel particularly scared about any of them. And 2 of those games are on Fox. So you feel good about that. Iowa, ending the year, always isn't great because their defense is so good. But for the most part, if he already has a great resume by then and they win that ball game, it's really going to come down to 2 games, being Penn State and UCLA USC, in my eyes, as those are going to be the 2 bigger games.
Split them, and you're still fine, right? If he goes to the Big Ten championship. Let me say this about Raiola, because we sat down with him at Big Ten Media Days. First off, like if I said I'm a basketball player and I wanted to emulate my game like Steph Curry, people would be like, "Oh, like that's really smart. Like he's the best." And so him wanting to like style his game and play like Mahomes, it's so funny how far the narrative is pushed. Now, let me caveat. Looking like him, sure, maybe he can't affect that. But, like, the pregame jump, I get it. He is gone all in on it. So I do get that. But when we spend time with him, like, super humble kid. I think he's going to be a stud. Yeah. He was a highly rated recruit.
5 stars.
Right. He showed talent in year 1. Freshman struggles. But, like, schedule, talent, Rule. It wouldn't shock me if he was in the conversation. It would shock me if they like won the Big Ten, which is what it might take for him to win the Heisman. But I don't hate the pick.
In my eyes, like they make the game. Yeah. Like they're not. I don't think they're going to realistically beat Penn State, or Ohio State, depending on how obviously the quarterback plays there. But if they make the game, I think he's damn near in the conversation. And that's like the big thing for me. And I'm not a Matt Rule guy as a Panthers fan, but from a college perspective, he does it right. And he builds right. He's a college guy through and through. With the nice schedule, with the opportunities, I think there's a real path there.
Yeah.
You're taking a guy kind of in a similar boat of like a stud that could come up the ranks.
My rival.
Marcel Reed. You feel got to be a little bit torn on it, but for the most part, he's an exciting player.
He is, he's an electric runner.
Yeah.
And he played incredible last year in a couple starts. He struggled mightily against Texas. But I think that's the natural, like, you get thrown into the fire, your raw talent is shown. They kind of figure out, okay, make him a passer. And then you get the whole summer to learn how to be a better passer. As a Texas fan, I never want to admit it, but, like, A&M is quietly, like, doing it the right way. I like the head coach in I think it's Elko's second or third year. He's electric. Like that is actually, and then they don't play Bama or Georgia. So they do play at LSU. They do play at Texas. And then I think they play Florida maybe at home.
And Elko's in his second year, by the way, but yeah.
Yeah, second year for Elko. But that is, like, you're playing an SEC schedule.
No,
so, you're going to play people. But I just think he has the talent, and because of the schedule, I think they could go 10-2. I mean, if they had beaten Texas at home last year, they were in the SEC championship
100%.
against Georgia. People don't even realize that, and they didn't have a great year.
No,
I think year 2 of Marcel Reed for a long shot. He honestly reminds me of Daniels a little bit, just under the radar, not the top tier SEC school in terms of like Bama, Georgia, Texas right now. But yeah, I think. The other guy I probably would have talked about would be John Mateer. The hype around him has been insane. But OU's schedule is just too brutal. So I think Reed could win 9-10 games, and that's what kind of separates it from some of these other guys.
A&M.
What was Marcel Reed's odds?
I can double check. I actually just had him. I think they were very similar to Raiola.
Were they? I thought he was 30, like maybe 18 or 20 to 1. Maybe. Oh, no, that was LSU.
Yeah, I think he was 30 to 1 if I'm not mistaken. Because he was right before Raiola when I was scrolling through. I'm like, ah, damn. So I'll say 30 to 1, but I'll double check it. But his schedule, I mean, like you said, nice. The hard one, Texas, Notre Dame, that's tough. Florida, depending, could be a tough battle, but they're always up in the air. You never know.
You never know.
No. So, but for the most part, he took Auburn again last year, 4 overtimes, had an amazing game there. That should be a hell of a game again. Arkansas, LSU. I know you're a little more sold than I am on LSU, but. That game could go either way by midseason. You never know. He could really have a great argument. And he's a ton of games on TV. Yeah. Like we said. I mean, he has 6 games on television this year in primetime. That's awesome. So I think he really has a chance there in Texas A&M. If they play good, definitely has a really good shot. Heading to Natty winners. I mean, again, we're going back to the chalk picks, but the chalk picks are the ones to make. I'm taking plus 700 Penn State. I'm wearing the hat. I'm representing. I know a lot of people don't like the pick. They're returning 14 starters, though. That's huge. And their entire O-line is coming back. Entire O-line. And they add the wide receiver, Traber, is that how you say? Traber Penna?
Yeah, where did he come from?
Syracuse. And he was really good with McCord and Syracuse at 900 yards last year. And he's not the tallest guy. He's 5'10", but he's fast. And he's electric, very twitchy. That's what they need. They didn't have that last year. It was Tyler Warren.
They needed
anything. They also got Kyron Hudson from USC, 6'1", bigger body, go get it type of ball player. But that's you get someone for the outside, get someone for the slot. I think their tight end room is very, very solid still. They have Luke Reynolds there. He's a sophomore, but he's a really highly recruit. 6'4", 250, and a great pass catcher. Just another Tyler Warren going right back to where they were. And now you have 2 years of Kolinsky. Is that what it is? Kolinicki, the OC. He's year 2. He's a hard last name to pronounce. Anyway, but he's year 2 of it. So now we have 1 year under Drew Allar has seen it. Nick Singleton has seen it. Katron Allen is back again. The running back duo is insane.
How do they have these duos every year?
I have no idea, but they're back again. They're not going away. That running back duo is phenomenal. Drew Allar, I think, can take a step in year 2. I think that's kind of what you have to look at there. Liam Clifford's back as a wide receiver 3. I think their wide receiver room is way better than it was last year, to say the least. And again, the offensive line's back. The defense, I'm not worried about. Jim Knowles coming from Ohio State. I mean, that alone is huge for them. And I think the defense can solidify. It just comes down to the playoffs. Like, to me, it's like they're going to make it in. Their schedule is honestly not bad. They play Oregon, they play Ohio State. But outside of that, those are their 2 big games. Indiana, I'm not calling a big game anymore. No. So for them, they don't really have any tough games outside the 2 big ones. If they can win, split them. Split them, they're fine.
Even if they
it just comes
both.
down to
I
the
think
SEC.
You get in 10-2 nowadays, yeah.
Yeah, so if you can get in, and then it comes down to the big games and not beating themselves. I think they beat themselves so bad last year. Clock management was horrible.
Yeah.
And clock management was horrible.
They were
Play
up,
calling was
like 14-0 on Ohio State?
No, and the defense was cooking. And then slowly fall apart. Blown coverage. One guy, the cornerback falls down in the middle of a rat. Like, it's just you start beating yourselves and letting Notre Dame back in the game. You slowly lose it. You lose it. Bad interception at the end, and it's over.
Yeah, let me talk on Aller real quick. So I feel like every time the conversation is like, I get the Penn State ranking, but Aller and Franklin.
No, I like that.
So here's the thing for me. The Franklin stuff, like you talk about blowing game management, time management, lead management, big time spots. That is all Franklin. And because we've seen it, like Trace was a baller. Like they've had, Clifford was a college vet. Like they've had the guys that at this point it's clear like that's a Franklin problem. He's the loser in the room. Mm-hmm. The Aller stuff, I was like a big hater on him going into the playoff because everyone was like, oh, they have this electric quarterback. I'm like, you guys haven't really been watching this year. Like he's not that good, but he has the tools. And I'm such a big fan of experienced quarterbacks in college football. And because the lasting image for 96% of college football fans is that interception against Notre Dame, which is fair, I think he's now gotten grouped into it. Consider the scenario where, like, Aller's good, gets better, which is, like, normally happens in your – is he second or third year? This is his third year. Yeah, no, in his third year. Then they have one of the best rosters in college football. Then they have a highly touted, like, NFL quarterback – prospect, and they just got to overcome James Franklin. Like anything, look, I bet on the Ravens to win the Super Bowl every year. So I get it, but I mean, I wouldn't put money on James Franklin winning the title. Listen, and I think everyone who bets Penn State is like, I understand.
It's
I just think Aller gets thrown into that, and maybe he won't be good, but like he probably will be good.
Yeah, and it's funny going into that game. I'll never forget. Aller's hype was like, if he does really well this game, going into the draft, number 1 pick, that's it. No discussion. He sucks this game. He's going back to Penn State. And then that happens. And it's tough. Your pick, obviously Texas, homer as hell, whatever. You got the shoes, whatever, don't matter.
The funny thing is, I posted we posted our preseason brackets. Me, Tim, Casey, and Dawson. Dawson's obviously he picked South Carolina, I think, versus Syracuse.
Yeah, it's nuts.
But I picked Texas. Casey picked Ohio State, and Tim picked Clemson. Everyone was like, "You're so biased. Like you guys are such homers." It's like we literally picked 3 of the top 4 teams in the country. It's not. We think our teams are gonna win, but we're not the only ones saying it. So I think that you've got an elite defense. The thing with Texas is they are now, because they're in the SEC and because they have this momentum, back-to-back semifinals, we just reload.
Oh, 100%.
So the way you talk about Alabama every year with Saban and the way Georgia and Kirby Smart teams are built, this is now Texas. They're not landing number 1 recruiting classes every single season, but portal. The best player in the portal is finding their way to replace, what they lost last year. The O-line, I think, is going to take a second to kind of get together. It can't be much worse than last year. I think people, because we had Kelvin Banks, assumed that we were going to have a good O-line. But in the big games against Georgia, Ohio State, the O-line got absolutely tossed. The only big game they could do anything with was against Clemson's run defense. So, I think Arch, third year in the system, because we play Ohio State, Georgia, and Florida, and A&M at home, I think you're going to get tested. I think we're probably, I don't think we're going to go undefeated, run the table, but I just think you're going to get into the playoff because you're going to have some of those big wins. And Sark, it feels, I guess you could say the same thing about James Franklin. He's a loser, but it feels like he's knocking on the door and close to unlocking a championship team. So, are we the title favorites?
Yeah, you are. But Here's my thing with Texas. Like, I don't hate that pick at all, especially returning so many guys. I mean, 9 guys for a team that was as good as you were, and a lot of them going in. The biggest thing is you have 5 DBs coming back into that system that played last year.
And we lost Barron, who was the best corner in the country.
100%.
And we lost Makuba, who
I think he's really good. Now he's with the Birds.
We get Taft back. Malik Muhammad's a 5-star.
Shout out Taft, the next Cooper DeJean. You know?
And what changed Texas, and because when we were in the Big 12, you still recruited well, but you didn't recruit like SEC. And whenever we would play these big games, LSU, Bama, whatever, you would get dominated in the trenches because you didn't have those 365 guys.
Yeah.
And then we had those 2D linemen. The fucker at Tennessee who had the interception. We had Murphy and then him. I'm blanking on his name. But now we have like elite trench play, at least 100%. On the defensive side of the ball. It should be the best pass rush in the country, I think. Like Colin Simmons, people are going to find out about him. And they got some, Burke in kind of the depth with him. So, and Ant Hill, I think, is one of the best defensive players in the country at linebacker. So, elite defense. You got a Manny at quarterback. You got tools all across the park. You got an experienced coach at this point who's gone to the playoff back-to-back years. They know what it takes. They also know what they're going to need to do to get over the hump. I don't like Gunnar Stockton. I'm not sold on, is it Simpson for Bama? I'm not sold on Sayin. And I actually think Ohio State lost way more. Like Texas lost guys, but Ohio State had, 11 guys drafted?
There's so many.
And they'll retool, but like 11 NFL players, that's a fuck ton to lose. So, I just think from Texas, they have the best quarterback of the bunch.
Yeah, I think your run game this year is going to be better than it was last year. Exponential. I think Windsor's way better
than Baxter.
Yeah,
Baxter's actually really good. He was just banged up last year. One thing from watching the Ravens that I know to be true about Texas, Quinn Ewers being a non-threat in the run game means that when you're running the ball, it's 10 versus 11 every single time.
Oh, 100%.
It's a non-threat. When you put Arch Manning into a read option, even if he hands it 80% of the time, you're holding one D end off
every time. Or outside linebacker. Right? Yeah, so it holds someone in the box every single time.
So naturally, the run game should just get better. Both those backs healthy, it should improve for sure.
Excuse my non-knowledge of Baxter, but I think
CJ Baxter, watch out.
I mean, we'll see how he does. Redshirt sophomore, so we still got a lot of young talent here as well, a lot of young juice. How do you feel about the wide receiver room? I mean, obviously, you lose Golden.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Going into the year, it was Bond, and then you leave the year, and it's like, oh, you lost Golden.
Yeah.
Wingo's going to be really good. DeAndre Moore got some reps. Like, the funny thing is, they both got reps with Arch a ton because they were kind of like wide receiver 3 and 4 last year for a large part of the year. The one guy that has been receiving the most hype is actually the tight end. His name is Jack Endries. He transferred in. And they had a Bama transfer last year, Nye Black, who came in, and they thought he was going to be the guy. It actually ended up being Helm, who was awesome. But Endries is getting a lot of hype. So I just think it's a really good team all around. It's a great roster. It is Arch's first year full starting. I get that. But if they beat Ohio State on Saturday, the hype train's going to be off the rails.
Yeah, no, 100%. All right, now we're going to national champion dark horses. This is where the fun starts. This is where you're taking the guys or teams off pretty much vibes and how you feel about them going in with their schedules. My team is going to be South Carolina, as much as that pains me as a Clemson fan. They ended the season hotter than any team. 6-0 to end their season, and they most likely have the most electric quarterback and polarizing guy in college football in Lenora Sellers. Like, if he pops, he could be a close, similar relative to a Lamar Jackson in college. He can run the ball like crazy. He could do the Jaden Daniels dance. He can do it and carry a team. Obviously, we're looking for the Nick Harbor breakout. We still have Michael Smith at tight end. Most of their line does come back, which is nice. Defensively, you have arguably one of the best D linemen in all college football in Dylan Stewart. Like, this team could compete, and their schedule isn't that bad. I looked at it.
Is it?
They have Bama, who I think, obviously, Bama, Texas A&M, Clemson. Those are the 3 teams I'm keying in on. I don't believe in LSU like you do. That's where we differ.
It's still a tough game, though.
Oh, 100%.
And don't they play out on the road?
They play at LSU, yes. But they get...
I mean, excluding that is nasty work from me.
It is fair enough. But like Oklahoma, I don't buy. I don't think Ole Miss is going to be that good this year. And then the rest is like Coastal Carolina, Vanderbilt, Mizzou. I'm not really too worried about that.
OU and Ole Miss.
I don't think Ole Miss
testy games though. I still think they're testy.
I think Ole Miss has a lot to prove to me before I take them as like a series
for sure.
And it's at the end of the year too. So we'll see by then. By then, it's like you have no questions asked. But if Lenoris is that guy, I think there's a shot if they make the back end of this playoff. If they beat,
they're going on a run,
like they could go on a run like they did last year, 6-0 to end the year, and they weren't just beating teams; they were dominating a lot of them. And that's where it comes in of like, again, this is a plus. This is a 40-1. This is where it's like we're taking long shots of teams that you
college
think
football. It is, and this is the NFL too. It's just like football long shots are very difficult.
Oh yeah,
because and this is why
you can pick holes in everything.
For the first time all video, I'm gonna say I don't like this pick.
Okay, fair enough.
And here's why: the reason it's tough to get like a Super Bowl champion or a college champion deep down is because the talent gap is just so high. Like even Washington, right? You didn't think Penix was gonna have that season. You didn't think Odunze was gonna have that season. You didn't think any of those guys were gonna go nuclear. They make it all the way to the championship, and they're not even close because of that talent gap. And now with the 12-team playoff, what you have, like Washington gets in because they beat Oregon because Lanning like fucked up twice essentially. So you avoid playing an SEC team. You play Texas coming out of the Big 12, and then you play Michigan, and you're still not even close. Now with the 12-team, it's like Sellers might beat Clemson, they might beat LSU, they might beat. But then you're still probably going to have to play Alabama and play Ohio State and play like it's tough to run the gauntlet. And so I think South Carolina is so clearly in that second tier of talent. Sellers is tier 1 easily. And it's tough to carry a full roster. That's why those Georgia and Bama teams, no matter who the quarterback was, used to just beat the shit out of everyone. So that's why I don't like that. My pick was going to be LSU.
I was about to say, you were high on him.
I think Nussmeier is going to be a monster. I don't trust Brian Kelly, which is why I'm kind of like leaning off of LSU. The reason why I have this new fetish with Miami.
Oh my God. Okay.
Is because similar to Aller, it's like the Beck, and similar to Arch, like it was like, oh my God, Beck is going to be the first overall pick. Oh my God, he's having like a down year at Georgia. If Carson Beck doesn't get hurt, that team is a national championship contender last year.
Fair enough.
They are. They beat Texas in the SEC championship with Beck getting hurt. Texas lost in the semifinal. Who did we lose to? Ohio State by a play. Like, they were kind of right there. And Beck, I just think the hate for Beck, if you look at his numbers and then you think about how people talked about him, I thought he threw like 16 touchdowns, 12 picks.
Yeah, you would think.
He was fine.
No, yeah.
He killed Alabama. Yeah. Like, and so Miami now, I think they have, like, I'm nervous South Carolina might not even get into the playoff because of their schedule. I think Miami can be a dark horse, get in. If it means anything, the championship is in Miami, so you get a little bit of home field if they even get all the way there. And in being a top 4 seed, there's a good chance. Like, I don't think South Carolina is the top 4 seed, which makes them have to play a very competitive first-round matchup. If Miami gets in, they get a bye, right?
100%.
Yeah, so you get a bye, so you're already down to 8 teams. Then maybe you catch the the non-power 4, and you're already into the semis. Are
you worried though? Like, there's no home field advantage for Miami. That would be
no, there isn't. It's more just a comfortability.
Yeah,
like
okay. Being home.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just you know where the play clocks are. You know where your locker room is.
Yeah,
although the most college football shit of all time would be they make the championship, but they're the away team and like they're in a different locker.
Would be nuts.
The thing with our 50-1, 40-1, 30-1 long
there's shots. They got to be shots.
Is I want upside plays. If they lose to Notre Dame and Beck looks terrible, literally in 2 days, Yeah, probably a bad bet.
Yeah, but we're
probably a pretty bad bet.
We're releasing this. It's already.
But I am taking the upside play here with Carson Beck in Miami, and it seems like I think most people are off Miami because they're like, even if Beck's good, like he's not going to be as good as Ward, which I agree with. But it feels like they have more talent, and they're like the defense.
The team will look a lot different without Ward.
So bad
too.
last year.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Now it should be better.
My question to you is going back to South Carolina real quick. Do you remember the score of the Bama game by any chance?
The score of the Bama game, I forget if we were at Tennessee, Florida. I remember watching. It was
literally a 2-point game.
Yeah.
They lost by 2 to them.
Oh, they lost that game.
They lost by 2 to Bama.
I think they were winning.
They were winning and they
got
let it go.
screwed, I'm pretty sure.
And then they lost to LSU by 3. Those are the 2 losses they had that were like very close. And they went that 6-0 run, dismantling Texas A&M.
What did they finish at?
9-3 last year.
Yeah.
Like
they could have been a playoff team for sure.
That was, remember,
Yeah.
that was the whole controversy of you allow, I think it was like Indiana or whoever the hell and you're not allowing South Carolina in, who's 9-3, has all the momentum, blah, 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 and beat Clemson. Or Clemson got in, even though South Carolina beat them, whatever the case was. But yeah, no, that's like nuts. I think I can see both sides. I'm looking at Miami now too. They have 8 returning starters, so I definitely could see that helping out a lot. I think the big thing for Miami is when you have Cam Ward, you almost rely too much on Cam Ward and the arm talent and everything. Where I think this run game could be really good. When you look at their returners of who's all coming back, most of it's their line. Like they have everyone outside of their left tackle coming back. And their left tackle now, if I go to their depth chart, he's a junior, so he's been there for 2 years already. So you got to feel pretty good. Most of the defense.
Give me Carson Beck's stats. Look, the times that I watched Carson Beck, he played horrendous against Texas. But Texas defense was really fucking good. But I swear, if
you had to guess last year,
I
take
feel
a gander on what you think it was.
Because when I looked into it, I want to say he went 23-7. Did I make that up?
He went 28-12.
What was it?
28-12.
Right, like that.
And 3,400 yards.
You literally would have thought he was the worst quarterback.
I would have thought he threw like
time.
15, 16. Yeah.
It was the interceptions. He was turning the ball over too much, especially as a veteran, and especially being at Georgia, where like all you have to do is not turn the ball over half the time. If that jumps to 30-10 or 30-8, Miami is in business.
Oh, yeah.
And I like the way they have opportunities to beat Notre Dame, which is at home. They have opportunities to play an easy schedule, but have those big wins, which will get them into the playoff. I think they could win the conference. I just moved to Miami. I drafted Tyreek Waddle and Tua. I think I'm all,
you're all in.
All in on the state and
all
the city.
in. Holy shit. Yeah, So we'll see how it ends up turning out. The big games are going to be the thing for him. Ole Miss, he struggled. Texas really struggled.
Yeah, he was terrible.
Even against Clemson, he didn't really perform that well week 1, but they did get the W. Bama 3-3. You'd like to see that not be 3-3 touchdowns, interceptions. 3 picks.
Yeah, that's how.
So, but like that's the thing. Like if he could perform well in the big games, every other number for him is fantastic.
Yeah.
The metrics are there.
Honestly,
I can see it.
People hate him too much. I was gonna say dark horse for Heisman.
I don't think people like him. But like the narrative could flip. Hey, he's not dating one of the sisters anymore. You never know.
Did they break up?
Supposedly. That's all I'm hearing.
Clear. He's got a clear head.
Mind. Yeah. He's got his testosterone back.
He's no Travis Kelce bullshit.
No.
We're good to roll.
Yeah. So those are our picks. Let us know in the comments what you guys are gonna want or what you guys are taking down below. What your wild picks are in the comments, as well as some of your long shots. Those are the fun ones to talk about. Or if you just hate our picks and want to actually go in on Texas, Penn State, Clemson, whatever we talked about, Don Raiola, fucking fraud, whoever, let us know in the comments below. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace.